Russian anti-satellite missile test threatens space station crew and has created a large debris cloud in space. An anti-satellite missile test conducted by Russia on Monday created a debris field in low Earth orbit that threatens the International Space Station and will pose a threat to space activities for years, US officials said. The space station's 7 crew members, 4 American astronauts and 1 German astronaut and 2 Russian astronauts, sought refuge in the space capsule for 2 hours after the test to allow for a quick escape if necessary, NASA said. The research lab, which circles about 402 km above the Earth, continues to pass through the pile of debris or nearby every 90 minutes. But NASA experts determined that it was safe for the crew to return to the station after the third pass. According to NASA, the crew were also initially instructed to close the hatches to some of the International Space Station modules. NASA will continue to monitor the wreck in the coming days and beyond to ensure safety of our crew in orbit, NASA Chief Bill Nelson said. Experts say testing weapons that launch satellites into orbit pose a threat to space by creating a cloud of fragments that can collide with other objects, causing a chain reaction of projectiles through Earth's orbit. The Russian Army and Ministry of Defense could not immediately be reached for comment. A Twitter message from the Russian space agency Roscosmos downplayed the danger. The object's orbit, which today forced the crew to switch to the spacecraft using standard procedures, has moved away from the orbit of the ISS, Roscosmos tweeted. The train station is in the green area. The direct launch anti-satellite missile launched by Russia on one of its satellites produced more than 1,500 trackable debris from orbit and is likely to produce hundreds of thousands of smaller fragments, the US Space Command said. Russia demonstrates a willful disregard for the security, safety, stability, and long-term resilience of space for all nations, said US Army Chief Staff Dickinson. Debris from missile tests will threaten space activities for years to come, endanger satellites and space missions, and force more collision avoidance maneuvers, he said. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken condemned the missile test as cruel and irresponsible. At the Pentagon, spokesman John Kirby said tests showed the behavioral norms needed to be firmly enforced in space. It is unthinkable for Russia to threaten not only American and international astronauts, ISS partners, but also their own astronauts, Nelson said. He said the debris could also pose a threat to the separate Chinese space station under construction and the 3-man Taikonauts crew aboard the outpost. The incident comes just 4 days after the newest group of 4 astronauts on the space station, American King's Chiefs Tom Mashburn and Kyla Baron of NASA, and European Space Agency crew mate Matthias Maurer of Germany, arrived the orbiting platform to begin a 6-month science mission. The space station, which spans the size of an American football field, has been manned continuously since November 2000 and is operated by an international partnership of 5 space agencies from 15 countries, including Russia's Roscosmos. Russia is not the first country to conduct anti-satellite tests in space. The United States made the first in 1959 when satellites were rare and new. In April, Russia conducted another anti-satellite missile test as officials said space was becoming an increasingly important war zone. In 2019, India launched one of its own satellites into low orbit using a space rocket. These tests have raised questions about the long-term sustainability of space operations, which are critical to a wide range of commercial activities, from telecommunications and weather forecasting to banking and GPS services. Thanks.